In chapter 5, I tell the story of how young Vaughn witnessed this lone Crip casually, just bopping along and strolling through the neighborhood until these three bloods and a lowrider saw him, and it wasn't good. They commenced to beating him not once, but twice in the span of, I want to say, in about 15 to 20 minutes, right? That was pretty scary for me to see as a young man. I was about 10 years old. So I thought they were going to shoot the guy dead, but fortunately they didn't. Unfortunately, they fucked him up pretty bad. Well, that was a real life guy that I knew. And that wasn't the last time I saw that guy. And he was an actual Crip. I think he was an East Coast. And I started seeing him pretty regularly about 2 years later when I started getting more involved in the basketball. So the long and short of it is that I started playing a lot more pickup basketball. Like, I grew a little bit, I got stronger. So I started playing more ball on the outside courts at my old alma mater, which is Fremont High School. So anybody, people that play pickup ball know that typically the same cast of characters show up regularly. And when I first saw this guy after such a long 2-year gap, I couldn't really place the guy's face. And then it dawned on me like, oh shit, that's that Crip those bloods jumped on our front lawn. And I was like, wow, okay. But what threw me off a little bit is that, the guy got a little more facial hair and he put on a little weight. And, so, I'd see him like every weekend along with everybody else. And I won't reveal his nickname, but I was, it was something real simple so for the sake of this video, we'll call him Man, which ain't so weird because I know at least two guys with Man as their nickname in my lifetime. So Man was actually pretty cool. Like, once I got to know him, we didn't hang out or anything, but in between games, guys, and we all chat, we talk shit when we're on the sidelines and we're waiting for the next game to pick up. And so on the weekends at Fremont, we start running games at about 11, maybe noonish until about 4 p.m. or so. So on this particular day, we barely got into the second or third game when I see a group of like 5 people enter from the south side of the school. So the court is here and the campus, the campus gate is there. But this told me that these guys were more than likely from my side of from my neighborhood, coming in from that entrance. So the closer they got to us, I recognized all of them. Three of the guys were bloods that live on the street behind us or behind our house. They were like in their mid to late teens. The other two there was another guy in his mid-teens who I kind of knew but really didn't know. And there was a young cat named Choo Choo. Yep, Choo Choo, who was about 11 years old, 10 or 11 years old. And I'm saying his nickname because I doubt that kind of nickname just sticks. But anyway, so Choo Choo, Choo Choo is walking in the front of these 4 teenagers, like he's the leader, and he's walking with this broomstick in his hand. Like he's a mini Moses leading his flock through the desert. It's just a weird optical on that, right? So Man, the guy that was badly beaten on our front lawn, is on the court and in the middle of a game. But once again, he's like wearing a lot of blue, which is hella risky. And this time he had like on some light blue shirt, kind of like this. And he was actually playing with blue pants, and he had some kind of tennis shoes with blue shoestrings on. And then it hit me like, oh my God, I wonder if these guys are going to sweat Man for what he's wearing. And I was wondering, like, do people remember him? So anyway, it was like deja vu. And the bloods were just hanging out on the court, and then they noticed Man on the court, and they started chirping, and they're like, they like looking him up and down, and Mad Dog, and they're like, hey, blood, who this high yellow motherfucker with hair like a bitch wearing all that goddamn flu? The fuck is up with that? So, refresher, like, some bloods don't call blue. They would actually say the word flu as a sign of disrespect to Crips. So that's what that was all about. So they went on and on for a good 5 minutes on the sidelines, and they just weren't going to let this go. And a lot of us have seen patterns in many parts of our lives when somebody is just not going to let something go, whether it's a kid that wants a toy or some some person on the romantic hunt for somebody they're vying for. It's like they will not let that shit go. And so now I'm thinking like, oh no, not again. Like, who's going to save this dude? So man would periodically glance at the sidelines where the four bloods were and Choo Choo. And he was clearly nervous. You can tell. He wouldn't shoot the ball. He would like fumble it off of his foot when he didn't have it. And he was rightfully scared. Like I picked up on that right away. Then at some point, the four bloods plus Choo Choo decided to walk right onto the court in the middle of a game, which was fucking bizarre and and obviously brought the game to a screeching halt. And people like, yo, man, what's up? So now like they're like standing on the court and they converge around man and they're like sweating him hard. They're like right up in his face and they talking shit like, what's up with all that flu? Nigga, what set you from? Fuck all this, your hair like a bitch. Like they talking mad shit. And the difference between this time and the other moment, just a couple of years earlier, is that now man is trying to explain himself and talk his way out of it. And he was saying stuff like, yo, man, I'm from out of town. I'm from Texas or something like that. Like, I don't know, what's up with y'all gangs or nothing, which I knew was a lie, but I wasn't going to say anything. And meanwhile, Choo Choo, the little, I want to say 10 or 11-year-old, is being very quiet through all the commotion. And all of a sudden, crack, little Choo Choo, crack man right in the head with that broomstick he was carrying. And man was dazed and it knocked him back a little bit. And the other four guys just started punching the shit out of man. And somehow man squirmed out of this beat down after taking a few shots. And he just weaved through the court, ran through some people, and he just ran his ass off through the north side of the campus, which, if you're familiar with LA, was toward Florence Street, which was more of a Crip section of the town than Bloods, which I think where he was from. So they chased him for a little bit, but then they said, fuck, and they let him go. But the takeaway was like, wow, man got faster, but he apparently hasn't gotten any smarter, man. Like I thought that beat down from 2 years ago would have made him think, I'm not really good at this gang life. And let me get into something like landscaping or pottery, some shit. But I don't know. I mean, the school was literally a block from where we live. The first spot, he got beaten really bad. And here he is 2 years later, not only wearing the same combination of garments that got him jumped the first time, in the same proximity, wearing the same shit. But it's like, in a way, it's almost like watching Animal Planet or Discovery Channel, where a gazelle is drinking water in the river and has a close call by escaping being eaten by like a cheetah. But after a few seconds, he goes right back to the river and gets, and then some crocodile locks onto his neck and drags him into the water. So that was a moment where I pondered a couple of things, right? So the first thing, or the first moment, put more into focus how exercise and poor judgment will lead to a beatdown. It will lead to incarceration, or tragically, if you're not careful, it could lead to death. And two, just a total lack of self-awareness this guy had by continuing gang banging, and he just clearly wasn't good at it.